Thank you guys, thank you. Thank you for being minstrels. In this season of my life, and I feel like it was appropriate to share, that God did something very unique with me a couple of years ago. Because I'm, like most of you, used to worshiping God. Song, dance, right? But what happens when our worship resembles that of Abraham? That when he took Isaac up to the mountain, it was not about music. That's right. It was not about how well somebody could sing or play. It was about sacrifice. Isaac asked his father, "Hey, what are we doing? What are we going up here for?" And Abraham's response is to worship. And what if the call of worship is not the form of music that God is calling you into this season? Because it happens. For me and my family, 2016, God asked me to leave my job. In which I responded, I said, "What?" I said, "Leave my job?" So it wasn't much of a tug of war because I've seen my parents move by faith and I've seen how God has blessed that. So I said, okay, all right, if that's your will, I'll leave my job. I put in my resignation and they gave me a promotion. So I was like, oh God, you're so good. Oh, look at that. You wouldn't be blessed this way. And so I took the job and it lasted a year. And I didn't get fired or anything. But there was that pull, that first thing that said, wait, did you trust and obey me when I first told you to do what I told you to do? So I actually found that same resignation letter, changed the date, and handed it in again. This time they were like, wait, you can just work. I know you got kids, you got 4 kids, you understand it's crazy. Work 2 days a week, you know, whatever you can. And I said, no, I need to go. And by that simple act of obedience, things were great and merry. And no, I'm not gonna lie to you. No, things were kind of tough. You know, living in New York City with 3 children. My wife was pregnant at the time, 1 on the way. But God always asks, He requires that of us. Not just to sing, not just to use our talents and gifts to worship. That's great and that has its place. When He calls for your life, when He calls for your life, Daddy Abraham, where are we going up the mountain to do? My son, my only son, you were the promise that was given me a couple chapters ago. But now God is asking me to sacrifice the same thing that was a blessing to me a couple of chapters ago. God is asking me to sacrifice now. We're going up to worship. How do we respond to that? During this season, and I won't go into it, but let me just say that God has blessed us. Let's just say that God has blessed us. Now I have a job again. We have our 4 beautiful children. God is doing things in their life by His grace. Let's look at it. Let's not to God. It's God did it. But that was the season where God had to teach me. And I know, and the reason why I'm saying this is because I know that there's at least one person here that God has been telling them something. And you've been saying, but God, what about the bills? What about this? What about that? What about... We're going up to the mountain to worship. And worship sometimes requires, well actually it always requires our lives. It requires something deep. So at this time,